What up, guys? CP the Tool Addict. Woo! Welcome back to the channel today. My name's Chad, and I'm CP the Tool Addict, and I am a tool addict. And I've been a tool addict for a long time. But a lot of you don't know. You think that you see all the good and the fancy, I guess, and it's lipstick on a pig. A lot of you will be chuckling right now because I'm overweight and you'll think that's funny and ironic. But the reality of it is that where I started from is not where I got. I'm 42 years old. Been doing this for over 20 years. Almost 27 years now. I basically started when I was 16, so I guess it'd be even longer than that. I started working on things when I was probably 10 years old, if you really want to go back. But I wasn't professionally making money until I was 18. So, I want to show you where I started. Behind me I have my first toolbox. Can you guess which one it is? If you said the Craftsman, you're wrong. My first toolbox was this one right here. An ammo can. And I still have it. There's not much in it, just a few old hex keys and some bolts and whatnot, so there's not a point. It's rusty inside, so really not worth looking about inside there, but nothing about it inside is good. I had that. Then I got this. I actually had another set. It was a Buffalo tool set, and unfortunately I can't find it anymore. I don't know where it went to. But this was pretty much my second set of tools. Of course, you can see when I'm younger, I wasn't very good at taking care of some of my stuff. And some of the actual sockets are actually over here in the box, though. But I think the pliers got rusty. The bits are all but 2 or 3 of them here are gone, disappeared. And we're missing about, which I don't think we're missing all the sockets, but we're missing about, I'd say a good 8 sockets or something out of this set. Ratchet's still here, bit driver and handle still here, but the pliers were definitely not very useful. I think I gave like 10 or 15 bucks for this, and of course it did the job. Got me by. But I learned after buying that set that I wasn't very good at taking good care of my tools yet, and I needed to learn how to do that. So then, pretty much this set I bought next. And as you can see, it's pretty much complete, and then every piece has been put back the way it was supposed to. And this is actually a still fairly complete set. 12 points deep, metric, and standard. A little bit of everything. Deep metrics over, let's see, do we have any standards? Actually, I don't have any metrics in this. There was no metrics. This was all standard, which pretty much all I ever needed back then. Nut driver still in there. Little screwdriver, the ratchet. So I had this set, that set, kind of partial. Some of the Buffalo tool set, which came in a metal case. If you don't know who Buffalo Tools is, they're made out of Missouri, I believe. Which they're pretty much dissolved and no longer. I had a bunch of random wrenches, obviously. Old Kmart Auto, made in Japan. Not the greatest wrenches, I'll be honest with you. This is not the Japan of today's standards, but they still actually feel relatively good in the hand still. Very deep notch in that thing, big broaching in that for 15/16. Old Thorson, USA made. I did have quite a few Thorson tools randomly throughout. As you can see, they had some peeling on the chrome and whatnot. Glad I never warrantied that out, because probably would have never seen it back in the USA. Of course, Evercraft or TrueCraft, Kmart Auto, and lots of Kmart Auto. Standard wrenches, pretty much all standard stuff when I started. Even a great neck wrench, double O-bend wrench. I don't think that's the pliers, but that's pretty close to what it was. And it's frozen. No, it's just really stiff. This is a motorcycle kit. I might have thrown them in. A lot of the tools, I will not lie to you, went into motorcycle kits as I was getting older, taking them with me and I made these little pouches and put tools in them. And you see, this is a KTM kit, whatnot, but they were really handy to stuff in the motorcycle like that, and you could have all the sizes you needed. So most of the metrics got scavenged for that, because that's all I used metric stuff on, unless it was a crescent wrench. Another Truecraft wrench, and a lot of the other drawers are just filled with some random stuff, wiring and whatnot. There's nothing really to look at in all these other drawers. Random shop stuff that I have that's really not tools anymore. But then I bought that toolbox there, that Craftsman. I bought for $2.99 at Sears. I was going to school, or was intending on going to school, because I was still in high school when I bought that and needed a toolbox. $2.99. It's a non-ball bearing box, and you can see it's in pretty good shape, except for the paint coming off right here now. And something must have spilled on it. That wasn't like that ever before. Guess Craftsman's, after they get over 20 years old, start doing that. I've never seen that do that before, but nonetheless, pretty good toolbox. Oh, there's the all-trade ratchet right up there in that box. I see it there because I threw it in. That's my boat box for boat tools. I always throw those old random tools, and that's the good thing about buying those cheaper, older random tools is they always scatter about for little, you know, go projects. And that's where all my cheaper stuff always ends up when I upgrade, is into that. So, anyways, you can see it's still a pretty nice toolbox. There's nothing really obsolete on it. It still works good, looks good. Not a bad toolbox at all. Nonetheless, obviously, when I went to school, I needed to upgrade. Let's turn you over here and we'll look at this one. Now, if you look at some of my earlier videos, you'll probably remember this old girl right here, because this is where my YouTube kind of started off. You know, when I'm not at the shop, obviously I'm at this shop, and do a lot of my work out of here. Now I work out here pretty much full-time, for the most part, and travel full-time, doing mobile work. But this is my second box, actually, because before I went to school, I had to have something to tote tools back and forth. So I bought this old Craftsman box. This thing's, believe it or not, it's almost 20 years old. Doesn't have a lot in it now. A couple little knick-knack tools. Light still works. This is my flashlight, Dorsey. Not even sure. I even have, oh, I forgot. People talk about Streamlight. This is a Streamlight Twin Task. See if we can get that in there. I was using Streamlight before they were, and I've never been a big fan of them, to be honest with you. They've never really been super impressive to me. Streamlight basically started off, I actually have the first original Streamlight, and it was a plastic one like this. I can't believe this one works still, but this is like the first LED light, and then the Streamlight was too, and this is a Streamlight, but yeah. Anyways, nonetheless, needed a tote box. Then I bought my Craftsman, or my SK set, which I was working in a shop already with that Craftsman box, keep in mind, before I went to school. So as I wanted to go to school, I started to upgrade. A lot of these are my old sockets, and yes, I had a lot of Pittsburgh sockets. I had a lot of benchtop. This is a, what size is this bad boy? 5/8. Been around the world a couple times, 6-point. Really, really good sockets. As I was buying some cheaper stuff and trying to figure out how I was going to go to school and do my thing, I realized that when I bought the Pittsburgh stuff that it just wasn't going to cut the mustard. Not for lack of better words, it was shit. And quite frankly, my stuff that I bought, my benchtop chrome and my all trade, which were not really expensive tool sets, were better quality. They felt better when I was using them, when I started using the Pittsburgh. And actually, some of these are original Pittsburgh sockets, and if you look at these things, how shiny they are, these things are basically little things of dynamite when you would put them on a impact. And I don't use these for nothing now more than anything. I use them for seal drivers, but you can almost see the stretch fractures in this tool, in this socket. See if I can get that shined in there. You see those cracks from me using this? There's a lot of cracks in the socket, and they're almost like stress fractures. I don't know if you guys got a good look at that. Let's see if we can get in here. See those cracks in that sockets all the way down the lines and stuff like that? Yeah. Those are actually from these sockets because they'll explode. And that's no joke. And most of the guys that have been doing this for over 20 plus years have bought some Harbor Freight stuff. Harbor Freight was great. You used to be able to go in and take a $100 bill, basically buy everything in the store. That's no joke. And for a mechanic, that was a great deal. But, like most of us found out once we got back and started using the stuff, after 1, 2, 3 times using it, it all just went down the drain. Now, of course, quality's definitely went up since we've been there now, and they have things that are like, you know, Diablo. I've used this air hose, and it seems to be of decent quality. The brown lights are not the greatest, but they'll do the job. Quite frankly, I'm not a big fan of this light. It still does work, but it doesn't put off near enough light, in my opinion, on high. So this is kind of one that I take out with me on the road if I go somewhere, or actually camping. It's nothing that I use for using to work on stuff, honestly, because I have way better under the hood lights. In fact, I think that one cost 30, 40 bucks, and the Easy Red makes that thing look like a child's play. Which, if you just watch my live video, you'll probably know exactly what I mean. But moving along, lots of sockets. This is all beginner set sockets. Husky screwdriver set that I'd bought, and we're gonna go. I'll do a toolbox tour because a lot of this stuff is. We're gonna get into depth of this, but the main focus of this is for you to understand where I came from and kind of tell you about my explanation and my time. Harbor Freight nut drivers. Nothing too bad with these. These things work just fine, but they're nut drivers. They should work fine. These are newer. I doubt these are actually the ones that I had back then. My very first screwdriver set, and the one I've used for probably close to better part of a decade. I did lose the number 2 screwdriver, or else it's somewhere around here, but I have a number 3, number 1, and a stubby. I don't know why I got 2 stubbies with this set. To be honest with you, I don't know why I got 2 Phillips stubbies instead of another number 2. And yes, they had yellow handles, but I use these screwdrivers quite a bit. In fact, these were pretty much my go-to, like I said, for a better part of the decade. Then I actually bought and upgraded to a set of Matco ones, orange handle ones, and I used those for the next better part of a decade. Before last couple years, I started buying better screwdrivers. I also had some of these ratchets. I think I bought these maybe 10, 15 years ago. Swivel head, knockoff gear wrench ratchets. I don't know if they even still sell these. I doubt it. But they're swivel head knockoff. These actually worked good, and I was actually impressed with these when I got these, and they did a great job. Once again, middle of the road tool though. My extensions actually doubled as punches sometimes. And this thing is no exception to the rule, and it is a no name. I have no idea what it is. It has no names, no markings on it. Not sure if it was meant to be like that or what, but yeah. A lot of my extensions were just random. Taiwan, that's all this says. No name on them. That's all there is to it. And I got by with a lot of jobs and things that I did. I mean, obviously I had a few SK tools that I had laying around, but for the most part, Thorson 1/2-inch ratchet was pretty much the only ratchet I had. And then I bought my SK tools, which I got a breaker bar, no screwdrivers, I should say. I bought a Waterloo toolbox, and I spent $2,000 on an entire set of tools that came with SK sockets. And I got to tell you, back then the price was conducive to being just above middle of the road and good value for your money. $2,000 bought me quite a bit of tools, actually. It bought me a full set of 1/2-inch, 3/8, and 1/4-inch chrome sockets. No impact. It bought me my screwdrivers, bought me a hacksaw, bought me your basic set of tools in order to get into trade school. Plus a Waterloo top and bottom 42-inch toolbox, which was really pretty much the standard. Those single bays were the standard when I got in. And you can look at me, I'm not an old guy, but back in the late 90s, flies. Back in the late 90s, those single bay toolboxes were pretty much all you needed. And a lot of that was because carburation was still kind of relevant, and specialty tools have absolutely upped the game. That's why I have all these tools now, is all because of specialty tools. Diagnostic equipment and stuff like that on top. I do buy an excessive amount of double stuff because I want to make sure I have the best stuff. But the moral of the story is, I guess, guys, is that, and then I obviously ended up with the Mac box afterwards. And I never met a tool dealer until almost half my life. Almost half my life living. I never met a tool man until I was 20 years old. So I lived without buying tools off the tool truck just fine. Did I buy the dirt cheap tools? No. Did I buy middle of the road? Yes. Every tool that I show on my channel is the best bang for your buck. That's all there is to it, bottom line. If you don't know that about me and you don't know what I'm about, well, now you know. So when people say that I don't know about cheap tools, or I'm just bashing on Harbor Freight or anything like that, I absolutely do know the difference between cheap tools, because I've been down the road of it's way too cheap and not worth the money, and I've had to struggle with what I got. And the whole reason I upgraded was because I worked my way through it. 20 years can change your life a lot, and I took pride in my craft, and I wanted to be a better mechanic, and I wanted to have better tools. Now, a lot of people say better tools or good tools don't make you a better mechanic, and I say bullshit. That is an absolute false statement. For one, a better multimeter versus a cheap multimeter will definitely make you a better mechanic, because you'll be able to have better readings. That's a fact. With electronics nowadays, you could know your electronic diagnosing and whatnot, but you would not be able to do ohm test or with a cheap third grade multimeter. That's all there is to it. There's certain specs that you have to test. That's why GM requires testing to be done with Fluke. Now, not in every case does that make a better mechanic, because there's a lot of mechanics that probably have more tools than they need and they aren't that good. They just hang parts. I get it. But you know what? For the profession, I'm not here to bash on my colleagues, okay, or tear down the mechanics of my trade. I'm here to help people, okay? And that's all my focus was. But some people are so negative that they want to tear people down, and that's all they care about doing. In fact, the jealousy is what really is the spoils of the rewards for most people. If you are such a jealous person that you're literally jealous of somebody's tools, I'm not a rich man. I don't live in a $1 million house or $300,000 house. I live in a modest house for an average blue-collar person. It's pretty normal. I have a amount of tools to make me work, but I don't have a fancy car. I don't have fancy furniture. I don't have fancy this and that. I got nice tools, and that's all I got. And I'm pretty proud with that. I got money in the bank, I guess, and that's really all that matters. People also talk about your tools aren't paid for. Really? Well, 95% of my tools are paid for, plus my house, plus all my cars. Is your house paid for? Is your car paid for? A lot of people that always have something to say about stuff on YouTube, I found, have always one of those people that got three fingers pointing back. And it's just unfortunate. I guess all at the end of the day, is that people want to make me out to be a bad guy, or make anyone on YouTube out to be a bad guy. I think it's just ridiculous. And I like to have fun, and that's all that's about for me. I mean, look at me, for Christ's sake. I'm the epitome of, people that are taking free shots. Look at me. I'm a big dude on YouTube, and I don't let that get me down. But there's a lot of negativity. I can't stop that, and you can't stop the haters, and it's going to happen no matter what. I've already understood that after being almost 2 years on YouTube now. I realize that the haters are going to keep on coming, and the best thing you can do to them is either ignore them or tell them to shut up. Sometimes I do both. I know that seems weird, but anyways, guys, any questions for me down in the comment box? I'd greatly appreciate it. I know that there's going to be people that are offended by this because they're Harbor Freight lovers, and I didn't really talk about Snap-on in this whole video, but I don't have a ton of Snap-on. Like, I'm not overloaded with Snap-on. My main focus to tools is buying the best bang for your buck. And my favorite tools is probably Mac. There's no doubt about it. I've said it before, is that Mac has been my favorite brand of tools because they're always middle of the road. I do have some ties with them family-wise. I was an ex-dealer. But at the end of the day, they've always been able to feel like a professional grade tool and not a costly tool. So that's what I like about them. Now, as far as China versus Taiwan and USA, yeah, I like to get quality stuff made in the USA. It feels good to have a good quality tool that's made in the USA or Germany or Japan or even Taiwan if it's nice enough. But not everything's working out like that in this world anymore. Oh, man, it's like my grandpa used to tell me, you're not going to make them all happy, Oli. So it's best to just let them say what they got to say and smile and say thank you. So that's what I'm saying. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you all. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring that bell. Remember, keep your hands dirty and your money clean. Thanks for watching.